The sexual revolution was an ideology promoting sexual permissiveness. This largely emerged from the theories of Sigmund Freud. His ideas influenced many major shifts in attitudes, behavior, and regulations about sexuality. Sexual liberation became the central focus of many radical movements of the 1960s. This was largely felt in the United States, where people started to value a more liberal expression of sexual freedom, challenging the traditional exercise of sexuality, which they found to be sexually repressive. There are two leading figures in the sexual revolution. On the right here, we have Herbert Marcuse, and on the left is Wilhelm Reich. The term sexual revolution was coined by Reich, and he advocated for the dismantling of traditional views on sexuality. Meanwhile, Marcuse critiqued tradition and societal norms, calling for a more open and welcoming society where people may express their different sexualities freely. The problem is how sexual liberalism opposes Catholic values regarding sexuality. The conjugal act has strayed from its intended purpose within God's design, becoming excessively sensationalized and commercial. It conveys that sex is frequently reduced to mere physical pleasure rather than being as a deep emotional connection. While Pope Francis recognizes sexual pleasure as a gift, he emphasizes the importance of exercising restraint to avoid becoming enslaved by one's passions. This idea resonates with Aristotle's warnings against acting solely on instinct, akin from the animals.
Nowadays, sex can be seen as a mere commodification that can be bought and sold in numerous forms. Whether as an actual service or through the forms of videos, some countries actually have laws that make prostitution legal. Germany, for example, provides healthcare for their sex workers, while Australia, on the other hand, legalizes the use of brothels. Nowadays, people turn into different social media websites to consume sexual content, where platforms such as Google and Twitter usually allow users to post pornographic material. In the 80s and 90s, however, sexual content was more subtle and can only be seen through product placements and magazines and calendars. Sexual liberalism has definitely changed the public's view on sex. Where it was once seen as something limited to married couples reproducing, has now been normalized as a way of self-expression, sexual identity, and even as a means of revenue. In the contemporary world, globalization and the upward trend of the internet and social media have definitely changed the landscape of sex. Despite religious and cultural influences in many countries, specifically the Philippines.
Now let us explore and define some modern terms and slangs for relationships and sex. Now, I want to say that most of these terms and slangs were not invented or coined by Gen Z or in the recent years. Rather, most of these terms have been around for decades, even. But even though they've been around for a very long time, many Gen Z still use some of these or most of the terms that we will be tackling. Okay, first off, we have the term karat, which literally just means sex or sexual intercourse. This term has been used by the youths of previous generations, and its origins or how this term was coined is unknown. Although, based on my research, in Cebuano or Bisaya, the word karat refers to the sound of metal grating or choppy phone call. On the other hand, in Tagalog, this word is used to refer to sex. So, from this, I guess we can kind of theorize that this term originated somewhere in the the Tagalog region of the Philippines. Also, I want to point out that the word karat is different from the word karat because I know that the term karat, which refers to like minerals and stuff like diamonds, like 24 karat. Sometimes it's spelled with a K, which is different from. I'm saying it's different because not only because they have different meanings, but they also have different like etymologies or they came from very different backgrounds. That's why I'm saying they're not different. They're different rather, although they are spelled the same if you spell karat with a K. Next is situationship. This term was coined by Karina Xie in 2017 during the time when dating apps were on the rise. This term was formed by combining the words situation and relationship. It refers to a type of relationship where the level of commitment is more than that of friends, but is less than that of a committed relationship. So it's like an in between. It often gets compared, or like sometimes it's kind of people see it as an equal to friends with benefits, or just friends with benefits but given a new name. However, friends with benefits refers to a friendship with a sexual benefit. Now, although these two terms may seem the same, situationship is referred to as being more emotional than friends with benefits, which is believed to be less which is believed to be it is believed to involve less commitment than situationship. Now, third is open relationships. The modern definition of this term was first used and coined by George and Nina O'Neill in their 1972 book titled Open Marriage. However, the term open relationship has existed in the English vocabulary for a long time now, way before the publication of open marriage. However, the definition, or the original definition of the English term open relationship, is different to the definition that we all know today. Back then, open relationship referred to a type of relationship that has open communication rather, and few secrets. Nowadays, this refers to a type of relationship where two people who are in a committed relationship agree to date other people as well. So, basically, the original definition of open relationship means you're very open and you're not hiding anything from each other. So if basing off of the original definition of open relationships, a let's say a child and his mother can have an open relationship in a sense that they're very communicative with each other, very understanding, and etc. But now, like I said, it is referred to a type of relationship where two people agree to date other people as well. Fourth is Vijax. Much like karat, this term is a Filipino slang whose origins are unknown. It is a type of video content that is purchased from sexual content creators. So like, OnlyFans, stuff like that. Fifth is throuple. This is a type of relationship where instead of only two people, there are three people in a committed relationship. Now, the earliest use of throuple that we know of comes from a Usenet discussion about non-traditional relationships back in 1994. Now, what is Usenet? I will just point this out. Usenet refers to one of the oldest computer network communication systems, and it was used to exchange files and messages. So, I'd say it's like um, maybe Reddit, I guess, is the my own example of what would be Usenet is now today. Six is microcheating. Coined by Australian dating and relationship coach Melanie Schilling in 2017, she describes it as a series of seemingly small actions that indicate a person is emotionally or physically focused on someone outside the relationship. Now, although this term is new, it merely refers to an old behavior that has been done many centuries ago, maybe like even the start of civilization, stuff like that. Um, their partners sending secret letters to other people, and it may even contain flirting. Okay, next we have thirst traps. It gained popularity along the rise of selfies. It refers to a type of social media content that entices its viewers sexually. Early use of the phrase can be found in the 1999 book Running for Dummies by Florence Griffith Joyner and John Hank, where it referred to the deceptive sensation of thirst being quenched after initial fluid intake. So you know that feeling when you drink water and then you thought that okay, I'm good now, but seconds later you feel thirsty again. So it's like that. And the authors advised runners to continue hydration to avoid the so-called thirst trap. However, the modern usage of this term can be traced back to 2011, where it was used in apps like Twitter, Snapchat, and Tinder. Eighth, we have alter, referring to a secondary social media account where the user's identity is more anonymous than in their main account. The use of this term gained popularity alongside the rise to popularity of social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Ninth, we have spalolalia or spalolalia, which is derived from the Greek words sphalo, meaning to stumble, and lalia or lalia, meaning talking. This term means flirt talks that lead to nowhere, or flirting that does not lead to a deeper relationship, which basically the LDR substance-less flirting. Tenth is anaxiphilia, which means the act of falling in love with someone entirely inappropriate by someone who should know better. For instance, you fall in love with someone who you know is not a good match for you or who exhibits inappropriate behavior. So, like, say, for example, you fall in love with someone who is a convicted murderer, you know. Anyway, following. 11th is U-Haul. The slang U-Haul was coined after the self-move rental vehicles U-Haul. Nowadays, U-Haul refers to the act of moving in quickly after entering to a relationship. However, this term originated within the LGBTQ plus community. It describes the stereotypical behavior of lesbians who move in together immediately when they enter a relationship. So, say it's been only 1 week and then suddenly they live together. 12th term we have is gold star, which refers to a lesbian who has never had sex with a man or a gay man who has never had sex with a woman. The earliest known written documentation of the term comes from the 1995 book Revolutionary Laughter, A World of Women Comics, which quotes a stand-up act by lesbian comedian Carol Steinel, who said, and I quote, I am not, in fact, a gold star lesbian. That's a lesbian who's never slept with a man. No, I know it's shocking, but it's true. I did once accidentally sleep with a man for a year. 13th term is we have Stone Butch, popularized by Leslie Feinberg's 1993 novel Stone Butch Blues, which describes the protagonist's explorations of the lesbian community. It refers to a lesbian who displays masculinity. 15th we have is Celesbian. Celesbian is defined as a celebrity lesbian on social media. Celesbianism as a Western media phenomenon came into vogue in 2008 when several female celebrities presented themselves as lesbians. And lastly, finally, the 15th term is microflirting. This term gained popularity in TikTok in recent years. It is defined as someone who subtly flirts with someone while in a committed relationship. They like their objects' posts on social media and sometimes open some conversations about or with them about sexual topics, etc. So someone with like say a girlfriend or a boyfriend and then you see them leaving flirty comments on like someone else's post who is not their partner. So yeah, That's all for our discussion. Thank you so much, and thank you for listening. Bye.